विशेषशून्यवादिपाशातिदेशताय वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्त हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। श्रीमद्भागवतम कैंटो 3 चैप्टर 12 टेक्स्ट नंबर 42। सāvitram prājāpatyam ca sāvitram prājāpatyam ca brāhmam cātha bṛhat tathā brāhmam cātha bṛhat tathā vārtā sañcaya-śālīna śiloñcha iti vai gṛhe sāvitram prājāpatyam ca brāhmam cātha bṛhat tathā vārtā sañcaya-śālīna śiloñcha iti vai gṛhe sāvitram prājāpatyam ca brāhmam cātha bṛhat tathā vārtā sañcaya-śālīna śiloñcha iti vai gṛhe sāvitram prājāpatyam ca brāhmam cātha bṛhat tathā vārtā śiloñcha iti vai gṛhe sāvitram prājāpatyam ca brāhmam cātha bṛhat tathā sañcaya-śālīna śiloñcha iti vai gṛhe sāvitram prājāpatyam ca brāhmam cātha vārtā sañcaya-śālīna śiloñcha iti vai gṛhe sāvitram prājāpatyam ca brāhmam cātha bṛhat tathā vārtā sañcaya-śālīna iti vai gṛhe sāvitram, the thread ceremony of the twice born. prājāpatyam ca to execute the vow for 1 year. Cha and brāhmam, acceptance of the Vedas. Cha and atha, also. Bṛhat, complete abstinence from sex life. Tathā, then. Vārtā, vocation in terms of Vedic sanction. Sañcaya, professional duty. Śālīna, livelihood without asking anyone for cooperation. śila-uñchaḥ, picking up rejected grains. Iti, thus, why, even though. Gṛhe, in household life. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Then the thread ceremony for the twice born was inaugurated, as were the rules to be followed for at least 1 year after acceptance of the Vedas. Rules for observing complete abstinence from sex life, vocations in terms of Vedic injunctions, various professional duties in household life, and the method of maintaining a livelihood without anyone's cooperation by picking up rejected grains. Purport. During student life, the brahmacharis were given full instructions about the importance of the human form of life. Thus, the basic education was designed to encourage the student in becoming free from family encumbrances. Only students unable to accept such a vow in life were allowed to go home and marry a suitable wife. Otherwise, the student would remain a permanent brahmachari, observing complete abstinence from sex life for his whole life. It all depended on the quality of student's training. We had the opportunity to meet an avowed brahmachari in the personality of our spiritual master Om Vishnupad Sri Shrimad-Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. Such a great soul is called a Naishtika brahmachari. Hare Krishna. So here creation by Brahma is being described in this chapter, and we are reading from 12th chapter, 3rd canto. So we saw in the previous verses about creation of different living beings, Vedas, etc. And in the last verse, basic 4 occupations of 4 ashramas was discussed. Here in this verse, further more elaboration on that ashram dharma only is being discussed. Particularly these 2, brahmachari and grahastha's occupations are described, are there. So some details about, technical details about brahmachari life, different kinds of brahmacharis and different kinds of grahasthas. So here we see first 2 padas of the verse discusses about 4 kinds of brahmacharis. First one is sāvitram, sāvitra. Second one is prājāpatya. Third one is brāhmam, and fourth one is bṛhat. So sāvitram means one who follows brahmacharya for 3 nights from the time of initiation into Gayatri mantra. So that's why here Prabhupada he says Gayatri mantra thread ceremony, he says. In English he has said thread ceremony. So after initiating into Gayatri mantra, he follows brahmacharya for 3 nights or whatever, 3 days, 3 nights. So that is called as sāvitra. Second one is prājāpatya, one who follows brahmacharya for 1 year. 1 year means from the time of again his initiation, his upanayana, initiation into Gayatri mantra. He is called as prājāpatya. And third one is brāhma. Brāhma means acceptance. So he follows brahmacharya up to the point of completion of his study of Vedas. So here Prabhupada, acceptance of the Vedas, he says. That means until his study is over, he follows brahmacharya. That is called as brāhmam. And third one is bṛhat. So fourth one is bṛhat. So bṛhat means whole life he follows brahmacharya. He remains unmarried, and he remains unmarried, completely abstains from sex life. He doesn't even lose semen even once also. So he is called as bṛhat. Or he is called as naishtika brahmachari. So Prabhupada in the purport he mentions that. Such a great soul is called as naishtika brahmachari. So the word such a great soul, you see there, word bṛhat is used. Of course that is meant for his, it is in connection with his vow. It is a bṛhat vow, it's a great vow, it is to remain brahmachari throughout life. It is not a small thing. Sometimes it is called as bṛhad-vrata, and that is what great vow means, bṛhad-vrata. So Bhishma was his name. Bhishma's actual name was what? Devavrata. Why he got named Bhishma? Because he took Bhishana Vrata. Bhishana Vrata means very severe vow to remain unmarried. And especially for Kshatriya, he was born in Kshatriya family. But many Brahmanas it may be easy, those who are Brahmanical in nature. Being a Kshatriya, it is more difficult. Still he followed that vow. Therefore he was named as Bhishma, or he got the name Bhishma. So great brahmachari he took a great severe vow. So that's why it is called as great vow, bṛhat tathā, bṛhat. So then 4 occupations of grahasthas are mentioned. Particularly it is Brahmans, Brahmanical occupations. So first one is vārtā. Vārtā means vocation in terms of Vedas. It is actually, vārtā is defined as anisiddha vrati. Anisiddha vrati means, you see, those anisiddha, those, how you will transfer anisiddha. Nisiddha means those who are not sanctioned. Anisiddha means opposite of anisiddha means it should be those that which are sanctioned by the Vedas. So Prabhupada says vocation in terms of Vedic sanction. So that is vārtā. Then second one is sañcaya. This is actually yajanadi vrati. Yajanadi vrati means performing sacrifices, etc. So Brahmanical occupations. So Anishidda krashadi vrati, actually first one is vārtā, then sañcaya yajanadi vrati. Śālīna is defined as anayachita vrati. Prabhupada, he translates livelihood without asking anyone for cooperation. Anayachita vrati, you all know anayachita means he doesn't beg. If something comes on its own, he will accept it. That is called as anayachita vrati. So that is śālīna. Then śila-uñchaḥ, śiloñcha, śila-uñchaḥ, that is becomes śiloñcha. So basically picking up grains from the fields, or that, what is that, silo. So wherever people store grains and all, some grains will lie down there, or after harvesting in the land, some grains will fall. So that is called as śiloñcha. In this way, for iti vai gṛhe, these 4 occupations are there in the grahastha ashrama. So these are more discussed in 7th canto of Shrimad-Bhagavatam. Those who are interested, they can go through there. So in the purport, basically Prabhupada, he focuses on that bṛhat vrata, 4th kind of brahmachari, naishtika brahmachari, one who stays brahmachari lifelong. So lifelong brahmachari. So he says, during student life, brahmacharis were given full instruction about importance of human form. Why? So why? So the question arises, why you have to remain brahmachari throughout life? Oh, why not get married, enjoy life, have sex? So for modern day people, this they can't relate with this, staying brahmachari and all this. People think, why? Because they are not educated. So therefore, the first line, Prabhupada, what he says, during student life, brahmacharis were given full instructions about the importance of human life. What is the importance of human form of life? Nayam deha deha deva. Tell, no? Human life is not meant for living like cats and dogs. Actually, that verse, what it says, Nayam deha deha bhajam loke kastan kaman arate vidbhujami. It says, human life should not be spent in the pleasures which are available for stool-eating hogs also. That is sense gratification which is available, eating, sleeping, mating. Okay, in that verse it says, what is human? Tapo divyam, human life is meant for tapo divyam putrakayena sattvam shuddhet yasmad brahma saukyam tvanantam. So in simple terms, importance of human life, what is the purpose of human life, goal of human life? In simple terms, it is to attain liberation from material bondage. Right? So that is importance of human life. So when we don't understand this point, then everything what is done in Vedic culture becomes you can't relate with that. What is happening? Why all these rules and regulations? Now in India, this new kind of Hinduism has started now. Hindutva, Hinduism. So very liberal idea of Hindutva. Because they don't have any proper set of, it's all, there is no proper teachings at all. Anyone can do anything and he can claim I am a Hindu. So many people are attracted to Hinduism. They want to leave Islam and Christianity or whatever, because it's a very liberal, especially Muslims. It's a what is presented as Hinduism is a very liberal idea, but actually, if those who study, actually those who get into Vedic culture, then they will realize that it is very strict or very conservative or whatever. But that conservativeness cannot be appreciated if we don't understand this importance of human life, goal of human life, that is liberation from material bondage. Dharma, artha, kama and moksha. So moksha, liberation from material bondage. That liberation from, then even to understand why liberation from material bondage, what is this material bondage means. So then that basic philosophy, we are not these bodies, we are spirit soul, we are atma, and atma is entangled into this cycle of birth and death, repeated cycle of birth and death, transmigration of soul. So we are accepting many bodies one after the another, life after life. So it is not a very pleasing thing. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani, jhatare shayanam, iha sansare bhaudastare. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Again and again taking birth, again and again dying. And again entering into the womb of, he particularly mentions, Shankaracharya, this is a verse by Shankaracharya. He particularly mentions about entering into womb of mother again and again. So which is not a very pleasing thing. In third canto of Shrimad-Bhagavatam, there is elaborate description of what all living entity undergoes within the womb of mother. Bhaktivinoda Thakur in those songs, Shoka Shatana, there are some 14 songs he wrote describing that pastime of Srivas Thakur's son died while Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was and his associates were doing kirtan in his house in Srivas Angan. So that time that child was born, and then it came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to know that, and everyone was unhappy, crying, especially women. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revived that child, and child after coming to consciousness started speaking this philosophy elaborate. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur has elaborated more what is discussed in Bhagavatam. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavata also, there is no much description about it. So this Shoka Shatana in 14 songs, it expands that pastime. Those songs, which we discussed here last year in Hindi. In those songs, that child, or Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he elaborated the miseries which living entity undergoes when it enters into the womb of mother. So then Shankaracharya, he says, Iha sansare bhaudastare, this world is full of miseries, he says. So when we understand this, then the question of liberation from material bondage comes. Human life, importance of human life. Otherwise people, they can live like cats and dogs, and that is what we see in modern society, because they don't know what is bondage, what is liberation from bondage. So they are just living like cats and dogs, just eat, sleep, work hard like donkeys, earn money, lots of money, eat, sleep, have lots of sex, then one day die. In between produce some children, everyone wants to have their own children. Produce some children like hogs and dogs. Human beings will not produce children like hawks and dogs. So human beings produce good children. Prabhupada would quote that verse. Guru na sasyat, swajano na sasyat, pita na sasyat, janani na sasyat. If you are not ready to live, deliver the, if you don't beget children like cats and dogs, you would say. And some people want to produce children. Someone will say, सुअरों की तरह बच्चा पैदा So that is importance of human form of life. Iha sansare bahu dostare krapaya thare pahi murare. So Shankaracharya is praying to Lord Krishna because Krishna or Vishnu is the one who can deliver us from this material bondage. Only those who surrendered. Mame vaye prapadyante mayam etam tharantite. Now we'll come to that point little later. Thus the basic education was designed to encourage the student in becoming free from family. So now if liberation from material bondage is what is goal of life or human life, and conditional life is also defined as, in simple terms, those who are conditioned by eating, sleeping, mating and depending. Those who want eating, sleeping, mating. Atma doesn't need eating, sleeping and mating, depending. Soul, what is the food for soul? It is Krishna actually, serving Krishna. And thus basic education was designed in such a way that we reduce all this eating, sleeping, sex and unnecessary worry about security, protection, etc. Security in life. So because if you possess too many things, then automatically fear of security. So simple living was encouraged, very basic, with minimum necessities of life. So basic education was designed like that. Like in Krishna-Bhagavad-gītā says, Bhogaishvarya prasaktānām thaya paharita chetasām vyavasāyātmika buddhi samadho na vidiyate. Those who are immersed or absorbed in bhoga and aishvarya, wealth and sense enjoyment, they cannot focus their intelligence on self-realization. Samadho, that word samadhi, Prabhupada in the purport, he quoting Amara Kosha, he says that activity is focused on the self or Atma or self-realization in simple terms. So that is called as samadhi, he says. Samadhi word has different meanings, right? Absorption in supreme, sometimes it is different defined. So those who are absorbed in bhoga and aishvarya, wealth, bhoga means sense enjoyment. Among all kinds of bhoga, why brahmacharis were trained that they should keep away from women, and every woman should be addressed as Mataji, and generally they were trained to keep distance from women, respectful distance from women, because mixing between men and women is the greatest cause of bondage and suffering in this world. Because material existence is based on the point of attraction between men and women. Pumsa striya mituni bhavam thayo rato hridaya granthi mahuhu atha gṛhe kshetra sutapta vittair janasya mohoyam aham mameti. That verse says, hridaya granthi, it's a knot in the heart attraction between male and female is not in the heart. Ask if some money has to be given. Not in the heart. That not in the heart. Hridaya Granthi it is called. So this Hridaya Granthi is opposite of liberation. It is bondage. It is. We are bound to this world by rope. This knot. What is that? Pumsa striya mithuni bhavam. Mithuni bhava. Attraction for opposite sex. Attraction for sex life. Eating, sleeping is also there. But among all these material activities, sex life is the greatest cause of bondage and suffering. Why it is like that? Because it increases bodily conception of life. Means I am this body, that like you see there, how that verse ends, you see, aham mameti, pumsa striya mituni bhavam thayorato hridaya granthi mahu atha gṛhe kshetra sutapta vittair atha gṛhe kshetra suta janasya mohoyam aham mameti. So it increases moha, infatuation to this world, attraction to this world. Or moha means bodily conception of life. I and my, mine. My or mera. I and mine. So that is increased. So Prabhupada, he says that if one is single and his attachment to this world or attraction to this world is very less, but as soon as a woman enters into his life, what happens? The attraction increases to 100 times. Why? Because you need gṛhe, kshetra, suta, apta and vitta. All these things increase. That's why stri, woman, is called as one who expands. So she expands material activities of the man. So third canto, that's why it is said that among all kinds of bondage and suffering, the suffering caused by association with woman is greatest, it is said. Because it increases bodily conception of life. I am this body. I need all these kind of things, so many things. So gṛhe means house, home. If one is single, he can live anywhere. Gṛhe, kshetra. Like we were in padayatra. Some women, some Mataji, some of our devotee Mataji, they also ask, so Prabhuji, can we also do padayatra? Then you have to make arrangements, too many arrangements for women actually. That's why it is difficult. But young boys, brahmacharis, we were just anywhere on the road, some temple would be there, we would just sleep there. And then take bath on the road, some pump would be there and take bath and just go ahead. So it is very simple life. But if a woman is there, finish. You need a grand arrangement for that. Then you need guest houses, whatever, lodges. So many things. You don't need much. So we see, not only we are, if you go to Badrinath and Kedar, all this Himalaya, so many sadhus there, they are just walking. In fact, we were more organized because ours is a little preaching movement, and we follow some little high standards of we don't eat here and there. But there would be many sadhus, they would just, in fact, in one sense they were more austere also. Why? Because they would not carry much luggage, they have to just walk. with very little minimal luggage. Then they would just eat anywhere. Some people, dharmashalas would be there who distribute food here and there. So because we eat only Krishna prasadam, so we had carried our things. But otherwise very simple. You can just live. So if a woman enters into life, then bodily conception of life increases. Dehatma buddhi it is called. That buddhi which considers deha as oneself, body as oneself. So, and another thing is, if liberation is goal of life, then immediately the thought should come, why I have to get married? Why I have to get into all these kind of encumbrances? So that's why in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, you see, for liberation one need knowledge. Knowledge and ignorance. Ignorance leads to bondage and suffering. Knowledge leads to happiness and liberation. So ignorance leads to suffering and bondage. So knowledge leads to happiness and liberation. So Krishna, in items of knowledge, in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, one thing he says that, what is that? Anabhisvanga putradara grahadishu. Before that, what comes? No, two people are at a time speaking. Yeah, one of you tell. Yeah, asaktir anabhisvangaha putradara grahadishu. One should be detached from family life, it is told. That is a symptom of knowledge. Knowledge means one should not be attached to family life. Or in fact, one should not enter into family life. That is a symptom of knowledge. Because family life means what? It increases. Immediately gṛhe kshetra sutta apta vitta is required. Then automatically what happens? So bodily conception of life or attachment and attraction to this world increases. I and mine consciousness will come. In this way, so Prabhupada in the purport, of course, he says how to make family life also favorable for Krishna consciousness. That is different thing. But the point here is knowledge means not to enter into family life. Now you are all brahmacharis. If you just stay as brahmacharis, that itself shows that you are scholarly, you are knowledgeable, you have knowledge has revealed in your heart. You may not know lots of shastra, lots of verses from the shastra. That itself is a success, because you lived as a brahmachari. That itself, that you are knowledgeable, because that is what Krishna says knowledge means. And that's why in the end he says, apart from this is knowledge and apart from everything else is ignorance. So because you have that knowledge has revealed in your heart. So thus basic education was designed to encourage student in becoming free from family encumbrances. Only students unable to accept such a woe in life were allowed to go home and marry a suitable wife. Otherwise, student would remain a permanent brahmachari, observing complete abstinence from sex life for his whole life. And even after becoming grahastha, they are also very regulated, very restricted. In family life also there was no all this arrangement for sex life, bedroom, separate bedroom, and grand arrangement. This was not there in Vedic culture. There was joint family system and so many people will live together. There was no room for privacy for sense. Privacy means you will indulge in sense gratification. Brahmacharis are told not to eat alone, not to sleep alone. nothing doing alone. Then alone means lonely. Privacy means sense gratification. Immediately desire for sense gratification will come. So in modern days, so much they create privacy for everything, that a joint family system is broken down. Nuclear family system has come. So nuclear family means, why they want nuclear family system? They want to do more sense gratification. Basic point, simple it is. And even after family life, we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a grahastha. He never, only once he joked with his wife, that too indirectly, not even directly. There was no much, so much intimate mixing between men and women. So much regulated life it is. And even after that, Pancha Shodam Ranam Rajat, leave home at the age of, no need to live in the home throughout life actually. We were discussing, all these old people should be taken out from home and they should be taken to Padayatra. Unnecessarily they are suffering in the home actually. Waste of human life. In first canto of Shrimad-Bhagavatam, when Vidura preached to Dhritarashtra and chastised him, what you are doing nonsense, you are like a dog, you are eating bread thrown by Bhima, heavily criticized him, made him to he became detached from family life, left to forest. Then in the purport, Prabhupada says, there are so many Dhritarashtras in every home now. We need Viduras to preach to them like that. So they are simply suffering. So they should leave. Then, but that education is not there. Basic, during the student life, brahmacharis were given full instruction. That basic education was designed to encourage. That is not there. Now what is education? You earn money and enjoy lots of sense gratification. So that is education. That is nonsense it is. In the Bhagavad Gita purport also, Prabhupada says, a civilization which makes people to do sinful activities and doesn't train them about what will happen in the next life. It's a very, what he says exactly, I forgot the words. So it's a rascal civilization. It is very dangerous civilization. Prabhupada, he appeals to the leaders of the world, take this Krishna consciousness very seriously. Observing complete abstinence from sex life for his whole life. Then Prabhupada, he says, it all depends on the quality of the student's training. This is something Prabhupada speaks very high. I mean to say, because it's there may be guru who can train the student, but is he ready to accept that training? Not everyone can do. Even among Brahmin boys, not everyone. You see many rishis, they were all grahasthas actually. Prabhupada actually, he was always in mood of making brahmacharis and sannyasis in the beginning. In one lecture, Tamal Krishna Goswami said long back, of course he is not there now, said Prabhupada, he had told Tamal Krishna, he only wanted to make sannyasis in America after going to America. Can you imagine what a dream it is to make only sannyasis in America actually. Then he says, because these girls came, first one was that Jadurani Mataji. He was the first lady disciple to join. So he was only interested in making brahmacharis and sannyasis. Prabhupada, but because girls also came, then he accepted. Then because by seeing, then means here what I wanted to say was very ambitious. Prabhupada was very ambitious. It all depended on the quality of students' training. It's a very ambitious proposal that by training it is possible, because we carry our bad samskaras from previous life. So it's not an easy thing. But anyway, Prabhupada, he himself introduced family life. He himself did marriages, which is sannyasi, it is forbidden. Sannyasi means he should make only sannyasis. He's only sannyasis. That was a mode of sannyasis in Vedic culture. To bring arose renunciation in the heart of people. They have to very heavily preach against sense gratification. That was the duty of sannyasis. Prabhupada also, he said, sannyasi should not regret, he says. What do you mean by sannyasi should not regret? Oh, I also could have had a beautiful wife. I also could have had a big house with beautiful children. He should not regret like that, sannyasi. In the heart, you may come in contact with such things, beautiful house and so many beautiful women. When you come in contact, that in the heart, that desire should not come. Oh, I also could have had. So once I went with our Guru Maharaj, one grhasta's house, palatial building. Then he challenged me, you also want like this? One wife and such a palatial building to live in. So anyway, like that, grhastas, yeah. But Prabhupada is very ambitious here. It all depends on the quality of. So it seems that Prabhupada wanted to train people just to remain as a brahmacharis. But by seeing the condition there in the West, he decided. If you see his strategies which Prabhupada made, actually, you can read those, that League of Devotees momentum, what aims, what he had. He wanted to make, they would study 8 hours a day actually. 8 or 12 hours, 10 or 12 hours a day. They will learn so many. He had made syllabus also and schedule also how they would study. And in this way he would make a world preachers and send them all over the world. So these are all very ambitious projects actually. Because we see even those who come in ashram, not everyone will be able to study like this actually, in intense way. Nowadays, if you give time, also people will go into all these mobiles and all that. Waste time. So he had a very ambitious plans, desires, projects, early days. But over the time, Prabhupada, by seeing the condition, he had changed his plans definitely. So then he himself got them married, because he saw there in America men and women are living together as friends. This thing, nowadays it has come. Traditionally in Indian society there was no concept of a boy and girl having. You can't use this word relationship, cannot be used. Like one boy came from, one of our grhasta devotees' son came from America. He was with us for some time, few months in our Gurukula. Then from Gurukula he is making phone calls to his girl. It's not girlfriend. Girlfriend means it is different. They are just friends, but they are not boys. In the school friends. But school friends were girls. He is calling them and telling what is he doing in Gurukula. So in India there was no, because there was separation between boys and girls from beginning. Girls would go to Gurukula, boys will go to Gurukula, girls will remain in the home. Now that's what I said in the beginning, that those who don't know the goal of human life or importance of human life, they will not understand why girls and boys should be separated. They don't understand that. In this way, so there was no concept of Prabhupada. He said when he observed this in America, and boy and a girl becoming friends, means Prabhupada, he said, this is prostitution. He said, in your country you call them as friends, in our country we call them as prostitutes, he says. But now India also has become, because of this co-education, India has become like that, co-education, and woman should have career, she should also go, and the women have now, they have learned this feminism. Indian women have learned this feminism. Like we made that one clip of about woman guru. We have to take it down because anyway this is an internal matter. ISKCON's internal matter it is. And all these non-devotee girls, women, they are heavily commenting on that. They are trolling. One girl writes, oh, this person wants us to remain in the home and cook. What's wrong in cooking? You eat stool or what? You don't eat food? What's wrong in cooking actually? But they think that, oh, why woman only should cook? Who will cook? Then you will tell, tomorrow you will tell why woman should bear child actually. But nature has made your body like that, right? So these Indian girls have learned now feminism. This is nonsense actually. It's just to become more and more miserable and suffering and bondage, that's all. Everyone is suffering literally now. All this because of so many mixing between men and women. They have illicit sex and so many times marriage, divorce. Is it happiness? It is, even from just materialistic point of view, if you see. Forget liberation, spiritual life and all, Krishna consciousness. Even from material life, is it happiness? So much trauma it undergoes, right? They undergo, but they can't understand these basic principles actually. So girls celibacy, they were also trained in celibacy within home under mother, strict observance of mother and particularly woman, if she is what is the result of this woman's liberation? You see there, they are just dancing naked actually, that's all. Anywhere you open YouTube, all half naked women, they are dancing now, all to cinema songs and all. That is a result of liberation. Is it the same thing? YouTube, thanks to the YouTube, it has given so much opportunity to show, so much opportunity to these small children are trained that internet is information, lot of information. That is foolishness. Fish market, stinking it is actually. Internet is stinking actually. That's it. Like if you go to fish market, you will only stinking smell will come there. You will not get a fragrance there, good fragrance. So that is what is internet is actually. It's all about stinking smell. Completely nonsense. Nowadays I don't feel like, even I sometimes used to see this news, don't feel like going into, because all this, they show these bikini advertisements and all horrible. Can't read news. When we used to read this newspaper also, that time also we would know that. We know that this is soft porno. That word we used to use. Nowadays that word is not so much soft pornography actually. Because in the newspaper, when like this is 25 years old story, when I used to read newspaper, we used to say this is soft pornography. Because there would be some advertisement of some commercial ads would be there with women, almost half naked women, or some cinema advertisements would be there. They would show big pictures of cinema actresses and all. So nowadays it's everywhere in the internet. Anyway, so in such modern society, Prabhupada had all these ambitious projects to train brahmacharis, sannyasis. But by seeing the condition, he himself got involved with marriages. He started farm communities so that people live away from all this simple life to develop self-realization. So nowadays some strange kind of Krishna consciousness is being preached and practiced. So there is no mood of that renunciation. So Vairagya Vidya, Nija Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means Vairagya Vidya. Automatically Vairagya Vidya should come there. Bhakti Yoga means. Nowadays this Bhakti with all materialistic attachment, is being preached. There is no Vairagya Vidya. Bhakti with Bhoga is being preached. Like in this Pushti Marga, they don't have conception of sannyas there actually. Although Vallabhacharya himself was a sannyasi, he took sannyas. Madhavendra Puri gave him sannyas. Ishwar Puri Pushti Marga, but present it has come to being now. After Vallabhacharya, no one became sannyasis in that sampradaya. It has come to being as a sampradaya of grahasthas. So, and they worship Krishna, Bala Gopala, that Laddu Gopala worship. And small baby Krishna means he eats lots of bhoga, prasadam, and these people also eat lots of prasadam. So, so like that, bhakti with bhoga, mixed with bhoga, actually, sense gratification. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to preach Vairagya Vidya, Nija Bhakti Yoga, Shikshartam Eka Purusha Purana. And Bhagavatam also, if you see, why this point is there here, Prabhupada, it all depended on the quality of students' training. We had the opportunity to meet an avowed brahmachari. You see this, the mood in which Prabhupada is writing this, he is encouraging this. So, in our sampradaya, it is renunciation, because what is preached, bhakti which is preached in our sampradaya, it actually is Paramahamsa. It is meant for Paramahamsas, that is. It's a Paramahamsa dharma, it is. So Bhagavatam is Paramahamsa Samhita, right? Dharma Projita Kaita Votra Parama Nirmatsarana means Paramahamsas. It is meant for Paramahamsas, Bhagavatam is. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam cha Yad Ahetukam. So Bhakti, which automatically brings Vairagya and Vidya. So if we are chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra and we are not still happy living in this materialistic society which is filled with bhoga and always busy with bhoga and Aishwarya, then there is something wrong with our chanting actually. Anyway, there is a lot to discuss on this. Prabhupada in the end, he gives example of his own Guru Maharaj. We had the opportunity to meet an avowed brahmachari in the personality of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Sri Shrimad-Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. Such a great soul is called Naishtika Brahmachari. So Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was a Naishtika Brahmachari. So by the time of Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in India, Gurukula system was breaking down. And all this, especially in Calcutta, it was a capital of British Raj. So British style of education had started. Still, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he left the college education, thinking that my relatives will pressurize me to enter into family life, he said. He gave the reason why he left college education. If I study more, of course he studied more than what is given in college education and it was not required for him. He was already born scholar. He was a living encyclopedia. Prabhupada said that. What? By the age of 17, he started translating Surya Siddhanta and Siddhanta Siromani, and by the age of 22, he published them. It is Bengali translation. What education you need for such personality? I think at the age of 11 he composed 2 Sanskrit verses in glorification of Lord Chaitanya. He was already a writer in Sanskrit. Anyway, he and his friends, this picture is there of his friends, you see, this one. They all took a vow to remain Naistik Brahmacharis throughout life. So here their names are also mentioned. Bimala Prasad Datta, that is Saraswati Thakur. Sri Prasanta Kumar Ghosha Bhakti Ashrama. Sri Manindranath Datta Bhakti Ratna Thakura. Sri Manmathanath Raya Bhakti Prakasha. Sri Khetranatha Sarkar Bhakti Nidhi. Sri Sitanath Das Mahapatra Bhakti Tirtha. Sri Bipin Bihari Sarkar Bhakti Bringa. They were all Vaishnavas, young boys, they were all friends. They decided we will remain brahmachari throughout our life. But none of them remained, only Saraswati Thakur. Of course, I am not saying they are not great. They are all great personalities, great Vaishnavas. But anyway, he remained as a Naistika brahmachari. And Prabhupada would say often, like, his Guru Maharaj, he sat straight. That is a symptom of a great brahmachari, he said. After hearing this, brahmacharis are sitting straight. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Any questions, comments?
It's all depend on the quality of student training. This is depend on both.
Training is also there, and it depends on candidate also. Like we see many times, even having a good spiritual master who can train the disciple, not everyone stays as a brahmachari, right? So it depends on individual also. Both are required.
The story of Bhishma, Parashuram to get married, but he still took the vow of the brahmachari. How to get understand?
Oh, there are many things which happened between Bhishma and Parashuram. They even fought, right, on the so that example is given there. That one verse comes actually. What is that? Gururapyavalipyasya. What is that? Gururapyavalipyasya karya vijanataha. What is that verse? It's quoted in Bhagavad Gita purport. Not the verse, but part of proper write-up. When Guru loses his discrimination of what is right and what is wrong, what is good and what is bad, then no need to follow his Guru. This verse was spoken in connection with Parashuram only by Bhishma. So in this way, there was no much we can say that Bhishma rejected his guru because his guru was not. Parashurama is a great personality. He is avatar of. Sometimes they perform such pastimes to teach. That verse is also quoted for when guru should be rejected, when he loses intelligence, what to be done, what not to be done. Then anything else? Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shrimad-Bhagavatam ki jai.